Hello, happy Tuesday. Welcome to the Q&A. Today we have no theme, but we're going to continue as normal. If you have a question or any issues that you've encountered this week, last week, whenever, you can go ahead and hit that react button down at the bottom and then press the raise hand button. And then we will take your questions as they come in. Looks like first I saw Zach, and then we can go to River.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Awesome. How are y'all doing today?
Doing well. How are you?
Doing well, thank you. Last week I had a conversation with Chris in regards to racking locations, and see he's on the call. And he sent me Chris, thanks for your help. He sent me a list of all of the racking locations that we have, and you're gonna explode it. And I guess I realized something though. The smart auto generation for racking locations for barcodes, it's hard to read. Jeannie, you're shaking your head no. Is that for me? Am I
Sorry, I had
on the
to
wrong?
myself. I was gonna wait till you finished explaining because Smart does not auto-generate barcodes.
I meant
Like the default.
no, like when I'm looking at my racking locations, I can print barcodes.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I meant. Like it allows me, I can go into Smart and I can print all my barcodes for a specific racking location,
Mm-hmm.
like the Avery labels. That's what I was referring to.
Okay.
But it's hard to read the name of the barcode. It's like small on it, like on the bottom. And so like for our racking locations, I need people to be able to like I want to be able to see the number, or them to be able to see the number. And I'm just long-winded explanation. Like Chris, I decided I'm not going to follow up with that project because I have to manually add like a thing on top of that barcode that's just a larger font version of whatever the name of that location is. I use like the Avery website for it instead. It's a manual process, and it's super annoying. It sucks. I would love if like there'd be a way to like bold the lettering on the bottom of it, of the template that gets printed out. But I probably not an urgent request or anything, but I just wanted to follow up with you, and that's why you haven't heard anything from me in that regard.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, we can definitely put the request in, but I do the same thing sometimes with the Avery website. So if it's something very specific, I use the Avery website also. So I get it.
Yeah, it's helpful. But it's awesome that it generates the barcodes though. Like it's really helpful. I just wish
Yes.
it was like visually it was just easier for people to tell what the barcode was.
Zach, if you already have a bunch of them like saved, or you already created this, I know you just said something about like abandoning the project. If you want to continue on with that, and the only thing that's stopping you is the visual or how it looks on the label, once you're done putting all of your locations in the right buckets and stuff, I can just print you different labels. I can do all that on a spreadsheet pretty quickly through Avery. So I would hate to see you sit there on a computer and do it one by one. So I will offer that to you. If you want to finish it, I'll fix them up for you and get you some good bold labels.
that's cool. I appreciate that.
Mhm.
I love learning, so um, I'd be happy to figure out how you did that, or
I can video.
and
Yeah.
you could show me how you or whatever template you use, like in Avery.
Yeah.
That'd
Yeah.
be cool.
I'll screen record the whole thing. We can even put it in our learning center.
That's awesome.
Great.
And then another unrelated question, I guess, like for the group. I was playing around with, I want to get the language right, the temp quotes. And I was just curious, like what people use it for. Like, and also, if I create a temp quote on one station, can I it doesn't show up on it doesn't show up on another station. Or is that like am I not using it right? I just started playing around with it. I just wanted to pick your brain on like the functionality around it. If you could talk about it a little bit, please.
Yeah, I can go into the quotes. That's actually interesting. You said it doesn't show up on another station, and it kind of made me think back, and it's probably intended that way because it is supposed to be just a temporary thing. We could probably put in a feature request to have it show up on all stations, but it might not be a good idea just because it is supposed to be just like a temporary quote, like you said. Um, so did you have any specific questions about the quote, or you were just wondering why people use it?
It was I I was trying to design a way to intake an alteration order faster without necessarily having to create a customer's account. Like
Okay.
we get a lot of people walking in who want to use alterations, and
Mhm.
they might not necessarily be customers. And um,
So they just kind of want a price first, right?
yeah, and if like and maybe we could create their account later. I'm
Yeah.
honestly, it was more just brainstorming, but
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what the quote feature is for. If you just have people that are kind of asking prices of things all the time, you might not think that they're very serious about leaving the order. So you just go right to quote from your home screen. It automatically brings you to a new order. You can choose a due date if you want, if you think it's just going to be a one-off, or you'll remember to change the due date if the person does leave it with you, then you don't have to adjust anything here if you're just trying to do a quick quote. We did add price list in here because we realized people might have a lot of different price lists. So if you have to choose a different price list for that quote, definitely do that. But it looks just like a regular order. So you just detail it without a barcode. And like, let's say it was like a wedding gown or something, right? So we have a wedding gown here. Um, we don't even have to go, into details really, right? Like maybe we just want to add beading or something, stuff like that. So the intention here is that, if this is the only thing they wanted a price on, so we would click this estimate button here. And when we click estimate, we can print that right at the counter and give them like the written estimate for it. If they say, yeah, that looks good, then the intention here is just to go ahead right away and transfer that to an existing customer. If you do have to create a customer, you can go ahead and do that in your search bar and then just come back to quote and transfer it. But it's just like transferring a regular order. So you just kind of search for your customer and find them. And then once it's, connected to their order, you can go in and attach the heat seal, do the colors, the pattern, and everything else, and actually get it into processing. But the other idea is that if they decide no, that's way too much, or I don't want to leave it, you don't have to like delete this. So even if you do a big order or something like that, you don't have to delete it. You can simply just leave it here, and in I think it's 4 days, it'll clear right out of the system if it's never transferred.
Mhm.
Hopefully that helps explain the purpose of quote, if anyone else has anything to add.
I that that makes sense. But like with the amount of counters that we have, um, it'd be hard to manage, or it's like then I'd have to go back to that specific computer and transfer it to their
I'm
transfer it
almost
to their account.
I'm almost wondering if that ticket that prints out right here, if you could scan that at any station and it would bring it up. That I'm wondering, but
I think you're right, but it's
oh,
like I manage stuff from like like the back and just reviewing
maybe just
maybe.
typing this in then.
Yeah, but I'd have to have that. So it's like,
Mm,
I guess if I had a KPI that showed like here are all of the temp quotes that are currently like in existence. And I don't know if I could I don't know if something like that exists. It
No,
yeah.
I'm sorry. I want to jump in real quick. Zach, it doesn't. We don't have a way to report on quote orders directly. And I just wanted to clarify. I believe and I'm speculating a little here, but I'm fairly confident in this. I believe the reason that it's not set up in such a way that you could easily just walk to a different station, pull up the same quote, is to allow for two different quotes to be created at two different stations at the same time. So if we keep the quotes associated with the station where they're created, then that means if I'm at counter 1 and somebody else is at counter 3 and we both need to create a quote at the same time, it's not going to conflict. And we don't have to, we as smart, we don't have to write extra code to create some sort of menu or whatever to sort all that out. So we just leave it locked to that station. Now, the thing about scanning the drop ticket, that is a good question. And that may have the effect of transferring it to the other station where you scan it. And actually, I think we should test that today. So we're going to do that in the office. Yeah, so I just wanted to point that out real quick. And also just, I think the main purpose for the quote feature is so that you can figure out the price of an item that might have a lot of modifiers on it, right? You can easily look up your price list just to get a base price, but the value of the quote is combinations of things. So if you got a bunch of special cares and maybe a surcharge plus the item or alterations, things like that, it's a lot easier for you to figure out what you would charge that customer if they wanted to leave that order with you.
I follow you. I was just thinking outside the box, like, is there any way to get an order in the system faster? And
Right.
you know, if I didn't have a customer account, then yeah, that was my intention. But
Yeah.
this was helpful.
Well, so if I may, I've worked with a couple of clients before who have they have QR codes posted up at the counter, which connect to their sign up links. So a customer who might even be waiting in line could scan the QR code and create an account right there before they even get to the counter. So they have a brand new account, and then you can say create the quote or even just open their account. But you know, you create the quote and transfer it to their account if they want it. That might help speed that up a little bit. I don't know if you guys are already doing that.
I love the idea. We actually were talking with our IT team about that like I think like a month ago, and
Okay.
it felt like a bit impersonal.
Mm.
I'm not opposed to it, and I'm working, or I think I'm going to try and convince my team that, you know, it's a worthy endeavor. But I've walked into retail establishments before and been asked to scan a QR code to fill out like an account, and me as a millennial, like I hate it, even though like, you know, I use my phone for everything. It's like it just felt like there's a person standing in front of me. Why can't you just open my account for me or something? It just felt yeah.
Yeah.
It
I get that.
really annoyed me. So
Yeah, and I'm a little bit the same way. But on the other hand, as I'm thinking it through, I don't know if I'd rather be asked to do that or if I'd rather sit there and be asked my name, my last name, my phone number, my address, and have to just rattle all that information off. I'm not sure which one I would prefer.
it's a
So
fair
you
counterpoint.
know, maybe having both options, you know, you can kind of you can get the best of both worlds per customer, so to
Yeah.
speak. You know, the customers are more comfortable with the QR, and we'll go that route.
I think someday we are going to implement the QR.
Mm-hmm.
It absolutely would like speed things up and free our people up so they wouldn't have to, you know, be responsible for creating the account. So
Sure.
I think we're
Yeah.
just slow moving, and you know,
Okay.
change takes time. So
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah, let us know when you're ready to do that and we can help you generate the QR code and all that good stuff.
that's great. All right. Thank you all for your time. That's the end
All
of my
right.
questions for now. Thank you.
Thanks, Zach.
All right, and now we can move on to River.
Hi. Not really a question, but our detailing staff noticed something interesting yesterday that we think might be a brand new feature people might not even be aware of yet. We scanned an item and it belonged to the customer's wife. And there was a little pop-up box that came up and it said, allow transfer, it belongs to, you know, such and such. Do you want to allow the transfer? And all you had to do was hit yes, allow transfer, rather than opening up a second account, detailing it in, transferring the order. It was super easy, super nice. I just wanted to say thank you for whoever, you know, put in the request for that, because that was a really great feature that we just noticed it for the first time yesterday.
Yeah, that is new, and it was new to some of us here when it came out too. But yeah, it's really neat and it's good for everybody so far. So far, nothing bad has come from it. All right. All right, and let's go to Marlene, and then we can go to Will.
Hi, maybe you can show us that feature, but I have a question that kind of ties into that, husbands came in on the husband's account and then they bring it in on their own account. So we have clients that have multiple homes. Some are in Manhattan, some are out in the Hamptons. So I thought, I have a customer that came back from Palm Beach and now is in their summer home. If we link their accounts, because all of their garments have been going to Florida for the season, when they come back, if their account is linked, is it going to stay in their Southampton home now? Or do we have to
So
change the barcode, or what's going to happen here?
yeah, so do you have an account? So I'm guessing that they have 2 or 3 accounts, and then they're different based on address, or no?
Yeah, so they have different, yes. They have an apartment in Manhattan, they have a home in Palm Beach, and they have a home in Southampton. So right now they're Saturday, they arrived at their home in Southampton. All the clothes that have been barcoded, have been going to Southampton for the winter. Now they're going to go. So in order to even keep that organized, because if I have one account with the client's name, Marlene Cohen, and I have a home and I use the home address, the other address, invariably, that whole thing gets screwed up big time. I don't know if you have other people that complain about that. So we just create separate accounts for their different homes. So they have an account for Southampton, they have an account for Palm Beach, they have an account for Manhattan. And that would be like part 2 of that question. Maybe there's something we're not doing correctly, but they'll send clothes here from Florida and
Mhm.
we will invariably, we were delivering their clothes to Manhattan address and they weren't there.
Mm.
But it's more about the barcode and the association of all the garments that are really under one family going
Yeah.
in different places.
Yeah, so do you have them all linked together? Because if you have them all linked
I do.
together, then
Uh-huh.
you're good. Nothing's gonna change with that.
But going back to the fix, because why should I really have to have 3 accounts for one client? They're separate accounts, even for people, I have clients who are in the city for the summer and then come out to the Hamptons for the summer. And it was just, it always, if we pick up out in the Hamptons, it was always going back to the city and to avoid. I mean, we started doing this a couple of years ago.
Mhm.
Maybe something's changed in Smart where we don't have to do that anymore. I don't know.
I'm on your side, Marlene. I actually just took another client that does the same exact thing in Manhattan as well. They just went live last
Uh-huh.
week and they have the same exact setup. So like they just have one account that's the master account, and then they have the other addresses as sub accounts. So everything gets billed to the one account.
Well, we don't even have sub accounts. I'd like to see what that looks like. We have 3 distinctive different accounts for each
Yeah.
address in
Well,
each state.
my question for that then is like, because we can't put duplicate phone numbers or emails in
That is
Smart.
annoying too.
So it sounds like we just need to make one of those accounts, which you can choose. Maybe that's their wherever you are, like maybe their Manhattan address is their
Mm-hmm.
main account. And you would just
Uh-huh.
make that a master account and most likely a master billing. Oh, I forgot to change my or share my screen. Hold on. Lord have mercy. Okay, so you would just go into the main account, click on their name to bring up their settings, hop over to their admin tab here. You just change their account type um, to a group master. Now, if you
Mm-hmm.
want all those accounts to be like billed to the same exact credit card, I mean, maybe some people have different credit cards depending on where they are, but if you do want it to be billed all to that one account, make it a master billing
Okay.
so that everything just funnels to that main account. So then, like Tyler said, as long as they're linked already,
Mm-hmm.
when you just, as long as you know you're on the right address when you're detailing, you won't have any issues going forward. But I think
Well,
that
I
would
mean,
be
what
your
my
own.
my
Mhm.
my workaround for that is I just transfer the credit card to each of their 3 accounts. I mean, Because I still have to have 3 separate accounts for 3 different homes. They're,
Yeah,
or
the
you're,
3 separate accounts would be, so like if it's 3 total, one would be the master billing, and that would have the credit card on it. And then the
mm-hmm,
2 other ones would just simply be sub accounts. And they can still
mm-hmm,
be, on different routes or ship out or whatever it is.
okay. I'll take a look at it.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah, send me an email if you can't figure it out.
Sure.
I think I emailed you something last week, so.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, and now we'll go to Will.
How is that new feature recognizing that they might be partners or associated to the same account?
So it's not necessarily looking to see if they are all linked together. It's just notifying you that, hey, this garment belongs to this individual. Are you wanting to transfer it to this account? So it's something that's already in the system, already under someone's wardrobe. You're under a different account.
Oh,
You're creating an
got
order,
it.
scanning that, and
Got it.
using
Got
it.
it. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah,
That's it. Thanks.
To elaborate just a little bit, it used to be the case where if you're on customer A's account and you scan a barcode that is owned by customer B, you just get an error message. It just says you can't scan it, it belongs to somebody else. Now, instead of the error message, you get the option to transfer the item to the account that you're detailing on. So that's what has changed. That's what we actually added, was giving you that option to transfer it instead of having to dismiss the error message, then go to the other account, detail it on that, on an order there, and then transfer it back to the first account. Instead, you can just do it all right from the same screen.
Got it.
Cool.
All right, and looks like we got Jorge.
Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Hi. I really like what you guys are doing with the webinars, and I really appreciate that you put it on YouTube because I don't always get a chance to get on here. So I definitely watch these in the afternoon. My question is, for subscriptions, you have for a client to manage their account to see how much of their subscription is left. It is in dollar amount. Can we change that into poundage allowance? Can we show that to them in pounds? Because in dollars, it's more math for them.
Right,
And
and
they
it
just want to
shows.
know when they go over, when is there, right before they go over, so they can hold off on the laundry or not, and or bump up to the next tier subscription. If they get a notification that says, hey, you're about to go, meet your limit, consider going higher in the next round, or some kind of warning. I've had a few clients that just go beyond, and then I'm just, uh, having to take care of them, to keep them happy. So is there something, is that an easy fix, an easy change? Is that a setting?
Hey, it's Chris. So so that's not I wouldn't say it's an easy change, right? Because in Smart, the way we um, set up those subscriptions is actually not based off of poundage. It's based off price per pound. And then there's a promotion created wrapped around that. So what they're seeing is the results of that promotion. So that's why they're seeing the dollar value. But I do think it would be a great idea if we switch that and start using poundage, especially visibility to the customer. So I'll definitely put that in with our dev team. But right now it does work that way just because of the way we already set it up, basically in
Yeah,
Smart.
yeah, I understand. And then to try to get them to understand the different values, right, and the different tiers, it's a lot of math for them. They want to see,
Hmm.
yeah, you have, percentage used, but then it's in dollar amounts, and that kind of throws them off, right? They have to do some math that for $100 they got $200 to say, that doesn't calculate with them. They just want to know, oh, okay, uh, want to stay within their subscription. Okay, so you're going to send it to the development team that's in the
Yeah, I'm
talk.
gonna send Yeah, I'm gonna send that over. I think it's a great idea, and especially even if it's done differently on the back end, visually to the customer, it should at least look
Yeah,
that way. Yep.
yeah. I have a hard time going back and adding up the pounds. They want to ask me how many pounds did I do last month, and I have to go through each individual invoice and add it, and it's sometimes not even titled correctly. It just says miscellaneous,
Hmm.
miscellaneous, miscellaneous. So I feel like maybe the laundry department in Smart just needs a little bit of love, a little bit of color. You know what I mean? To
I
make
got you.
it pop, because that is the hot thing right now. And there's like Sense and all curbside that have this platform that make it look good. I want Smart to compete with them. You know, I don't. I want Smart to be above that. You know.
No, absolutely. No, absolutely. And I do. I think it's a great, especially visually, right? I think it makes sense to
Yeah.
visually, at least for,
Icon.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So no, I
Yeah.
agree. I definitely agree with you. So we'll definitely put it in the docket and see what we can get done for it.
Okay.
Yep,
Thank you, Chris.
no problem.
All right.
All right, and let's go to Alan.
Okay. Hey, thanks, guys and girls. This is my first time being on a Q&A with you guys. Not my first time on a Zoom, of course, but I realize I'm missing the boat by not getting on this, and also getting some of my younger people that work for me that love our system involved. So my question, one of my inspector assembler, we've run into a problem at work. Um, where with all my stores are color, all their barcodes are color coded, and my routes are color coded. So through processing throughout the day, naturally some of your people at your stations, your oppressors and stuff, sometimes they'll put an item back because they don't feel like working on linen right now, or they don't feel like doing this pleated item right now, or whatever. So at the end of the day, we're trying to figure out how to get the items that need to go to the front of the line to be pressed first. And you're like, okay, what does SMART have to do with that? So we were talking about, is there a way to download all of the database for what we have into like a handheld um, uh, thing, like you would have it, I guess, Lowe's or Home Depot or someplace like that, where you had all your inventory in, and you could just go through and start at the big front of the line and just scan each barcode, and it would tell you who the customer was and what, or at least what day that it was supposed to be processed on, so it can move to the front of the line. Does that make sense? Are you following me?
Yeah, so there's definitely a station type for that. Really, one of the things that you're going to run into is just finding the. I don't know about the scanning part, getting that. You may have to manually type it, but the biggest thing would be get like a Microsoft Surface or some type of tablet. Um, Not an iPad. An iPad won't work, but a Microsoft Surface would be the best bet. And then setting it up as some type of production station, so you can go by, carry it around, connect it to Wi-Fi, and then type in the number. Or if you have the ability to get a scanner and it works with Smart, that would be another good bet.
Could you use a route phone for that? And
No, because that's generally only for racking. So if you were to, you're not able to just search an item
okay.
if you were to use like a mobile or even a delivery station.
Okay. Thank you.
Alan, if I may, um, the purpose of these scans would be like to help with sorting, essentially. Is that right?
Yeah. So let's say it's Thursday morning. Route 1 is supposed to go out. So my assembler stays a little bit later after production on night to get everything ready, because we don't have everything completely done. So we want to get the route driver out as soon as we can. Okay.
Mhm.
We got a few straggler items here and there. Maybe something was soaking overnight. Something's going back to be rerun for cleaning or whatever. Just knowing what those items are and be able to move them to the front of the line to get them out, to get the drivers out. And the same with running the stuff to the other stores. Just trying to keep things in a processing it in the day of. I mean, in theory, everything should work. You know, everything's done by 4 o'clock on a certain day. But if there's in theory, things don't always work that way.
Gotcha. Okay, so if you were able to, I'm not sure if you know what an info ticket is. It's a ticket you get. It prints out in racking if you scan them and heat seal in racking, and it's for the item. I think it has a barcode on it, and it's got particular detail information about the item. So I'm thinking maybe if we just thinking about how we could implement something like this. What if we added a simple module to the mobile app? That would let you scan and essentially show you an info ticket on screen. So it would show critical information about the item that you scanned. And then so maybe you're looking to pull out all the alterations or all the rushes or something like that. Maybe you could even like choose a flag that you wanted to highlight. And so you want it to like beep extra loud or something whenever you scan a rush or something like that. Does this sound, am I sort of in the ballpark of the kind of thing you're looking for?
No, because
Okay.
that's a lot of paper to print out. Okay.
Oh, I don't mean printing. I just mean showing you on screen.
Oh.
So the idea would like you scan something and it tells you, I'll just use rush as an example. It tells you if it's rush, and if it is, you set it in the pile to the left. And if it's not, you move on to the next item. That's what I have in mind, but I want to make sure I understand what you have in mind.
But the computer screen is 10. The closest one would be 10 feet away from where this pressing station would be. And then you got another one that's 15, so you're going to each station.
Yeah,
Right. So that's why I'm saying it would be in like a mobile app, like on the phone.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So I just want to make sure I had like the ballpark idea, and I'll write something up and we'll play with it.
I called a while back and was talking to somebody. It was one day I was calling the court, and we'd had this discussion. I said, "Hey, by the way, see if you guys have something like this." And I explained, and they said they'd try to get back with me, and they didn't. But that's okay. I'm like you guys. We're always trying to build a better mousetrap, right?
Yeah, of course.
That's have the Q&As. But no, Josh, the guy that works for me, he said, wouldn't it be great if we had something like you have at Home Depot or Lowe's or something, where when you go in and you'll say, hey, I'm looking for this kind of screwdriver, I'm looking for this kind of bolt or whatever, and they can research what that item is, and they'll tell you if they have it in inventory and if they don't. And so I didn't know if there was something like that where we could go through, hold it up, download all the data that's on the database, and just scan those items, and it would say when it was due and who it belonged to.
Okay. All right. Gotcha. Yeah. So yeah, we'll look into this. The lot manager may help. It's not coming at it from the same angle as what you're describing, but it does contain a lot of that same information. So if you're not using the lot manager, I definitely recommend you go into the reports section and pull it up and check it out. If you are familiar with it, then you probably already know what it has in there. But yeah, so I'll write something up for this. It's an interesting idea.
All right.
We'll see where it
Thank
takes us. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
All right, and we will jump over to Mark.
Howdy, everybody. Got a question about an issue that we finally have narrowed down what the culprit is, where the source of the problem is. So we were noticing that every now and then a few customers would receive a incorrect notification about their orders being ready for pickup, even though they are supposed to be delivered. And so it would cause this kind of confusion for them customer side, and they would say, my order is supposed to be delivered. I'm not going to come pick them up. And So the issue seems to be this, we have, I'm sure, I assume others also have routes where two different routes might be close geographically to each other. So depending on the load, we might switch one customer from route A to route B. And so in that switching process, when the orders are all ready, they've been scanned to a ready station or a ready rack, and they're on their regular route, and we go to switch them to a different route so they get delivered with a different driver. It, instead of switching to that route, it will revert to our home, our store location. And when it reverts to that store location, because they're all ready, the customer gets a ready notification to come and pick up their orders, which is basically like an unnecessary step in the chain. We just wanted to switch. It's still delivery. It's getting switched to a different route. So I don't know if that's something I think Alex has submitted a ticket about this, but I don't know where we are on it because it's a continuing problem. And I'm not sure if anybody else, any other smart users have encountered this, or if they've found a way to resolve it. Is there some setting maybe that we need to toggle on?
So I'm not sure if there's a specific setting about that. I'd have to look into how each of those routes are set up for you. And are you only seeing it with two routes, or are you seeing it with just regardless anytime you move anybody from route to route?
No, it's specifically when orders are ready for delivery. So there's many times we'll change a pickup from one route to another, but of course there's nothing changing in terms of order status. So it's very specific to there's orders that are racked ready, and as our dispatcher is going to send out the drivers with the orders, he decides these orders should actually go with this driver because there's too many stops on the existing route. Let's even them out a little bit. And in that process of switching them, it reverts to Lindaro, and then he has to go, sorry, it reverts to our store location, and then he has to manually change it from the store location to the new route. So it's instead of a one-step process, is a two-step process. And in that 2 steps, customer gets a ready notification.
Hey, Mark, it's Gina.
Howdy.
Okay, you were getting me thinking here. So I went in and I was doing some tests. So I have an order here. Let me actually update it. I messed with it a little bit before I showed my screen here. Okay, so this customer is normally on the demo route. And so this was set up already as the demo route.
You know, I don't want to cut you off, but just one other thing to mention. We've noticed that when it's just a single order, it doesn't do it. It gives us that prompt of keep it as delivery versus home. When there's multiple orders, which 99% of our routes are, then the issue occurs. So,
all right, so let's make a second order then, my friend.
okay.
Mark, are you saying that when there's multiple routes or multiple orders, it does not ask if you want to update the other orders? You don't get the prompt?
No, we don't get that prompt that we just saw on the screen right now. But I have seen that prompt many times, but sometimes it's in the issue that I'm describing, it doesn't show that prompt. It just reverts everything to Lindaro.
Huh, yeah, that prompt should appear no matter how many orders are affected.
Okay.
Okay, good to know.
All right, so I'm gonna go in here and I'm gonna change the stop then for today, and I'm gonna change it to the San Francisco route, and I'm just gonna click save. So like we can see like it didn't ask us anything, it didn't do anything, right? It didn't ask us, are you sure you want to change these orders, San Francisco, nothing like that. So on a refresh, both of my orders are changed to San Francisco. I can see that right up here.
Yeah.
So we might need an exact example from you if this is happening, because I can't seem to get it to happen. The only time in which I feel like this might be a user error is if you go to actually cancel a stop. So I'm kind of wondering if when you or your employees are going to adjust these routes, if you're canceling a stop and creating a whole new one. Because I'm just editing the current stop. So I would highly suggest to just edit the current stop. Don't delete the current one, because when I go to cancel this, that's when I get my message saying, all right, we're canceling this now. Do you want it to be a store order, or do you still want it to be on delivery, just the next delivery day?
Right. No, thank you. Yeah, I thought it was the same issue about canceling
Mm-hmm.
stuff, but I witnessed it happen recently last week where he just updated the
Hmm.
existing stop, and when you would go to the order screen that you have there in the background, it would show
Mm-hmm.
as no longer delivery. It would show as like
Yeah.
your store name.
Well,
When
if you can get us
I'll
the
just leave
exact
record.
like customer and like maybe one of the invoice numbers, like one of our developers should be able to go back there. Oh, there is already a ticket for it. Okay.
Hello, everyone. This is Alex. I wanted to say, first of all, we do have an example. It's Federer Teresa, Federer. So if you want to go to my instance and see the sort of background events that took place, if you have a log, you could look into that log. This customer is on Route 20 usually, and we put it on Route 8.
Okay. Usually we just use like testing instances for this. We don't really have a lot of time to get to everyone's questions and like go into individual instances. So I think if a ticket's already made, then we can just follow up with you, hopefully.
I've already asked Mike Wright to look into this, but I haven't heard from him. I asked that last Thursday.
Hey, Alex. Yeah, I have looked at it. I've been speaking with the agent who's on the ticket, and I'm going to go look at it again when we get out of this call
Okay.
too. And
All right.
we'll get you a good update.
We'll go over it. Okay. Thank you.
Alrighty. You're welcome.
All right, and let's jump over to Will.
My question was back at Alan. Alan, when you have that problem, and I just know through experience, if you try to scan every order or come up with a system like that, you're gonna pay a full-time employee to do that. Have you ever worked with a smart lot system? Or how do you manage your lots right now? Is it a day lot?
Let me get out of here. No, I'm not using the lot system. I mean,
So if you have clothes that come in on Monday, they're not due Wednesday, and I'm just making up a time frame.
no. I have due dates on everything. So we're breaking.
Right.
I mean, it's not like the old days where you had different colored lots. Okay. So
No, I agree.
right.
You know, I'm just asking because we went through this, and what we ended up doing is we created a lot system for our dry cleaning pieces and our shirt pieces. And for us, we broke it down into shirts into batches of 200 and then dry cleaning into batches of 500, whatever your daily piece count is. And so when that finishes, it's really not a lot of work if you give that to the dry cleaner and they put it out on the floor, and it's going to maybe cost you a few extra baskets because you're going to have baskets to do that. But then everyone has to finish what that lot is. And then you don't have to worry about running around. And the other thing is, if you are using the lot manager in Smart and you are actually indicating that it's a special, and you're using some flagging system of like a red tag for same day,
Right.
then if it's time specific, you can go into the lot manager to see where that one might be and follow that. But like I said, we did this for a long time, and we implemented the lot manager, and it has helped us so much, because what happens is, in a long day, if they have 8 hours, they really will say, I'm not going to work on that. I'm not going to work on that. And they push everything to the back. And next thing you know, you have a bunch of hard things that never get done. So I would definitely, and that's why I was chiming in. I think that the lot management system through Smart would be a really easy, quick fix.
Okay. Thank you. I've got a work emergency I got to take. So thank you so much, guys.
All right, and let's jump over to Marlene.
Hi, three things. You mentioned on the last call a new driver app and how everybody shook their head. There you go. Yes, exciting. So what's the process of taking a look, setting it up in our instance?
Yeah, so we're going to be sending out some emails here shortly to everybody, and that'll have all the information, or hopefully all the information that everybody's looking for. And then obviously, if you do have more questions, yeah, not this week, next week, sorry.
Okay, no
we'll
worries.
be sending out emails with information and download links and stuff like that.
And maybe on one of these, since these seem to be popular, these calls, maybe on one of the calls when it's ready, you can do like a show and tell for everybody.
Yeah, yeah, we're working on a video already, so that way we can
Okay.
show it and then go through it.
Perfect. Another thought, just because I see a lot of familiar faces and same people showing up on these calls, but I like maybe hi, I'm Marlene, I'm from New York. Where's everybody from? We're all over from different places. Curious to see what market everybody's in based on the questions that they're asking. That's I would be interested. You're the best. So that's one comment. And then my last question is on specialty items. This came from Wayne this morning because he was detailing his own work. Is there any way to key in and start to type what you're looking for instead of like in fabric, you can type cotton, I think, CO, and it'll take you to cotton. And then in brand, you can type the brand and it'll take you to the brand. And yeah, you're shaking your head, no, Tyler, but yeah, no, figure it out. I mean, specialty, I can't hear you, Gina. You know, there's so many options in our specialty, which also I'd like to reorganize and clean up our specialty, which I'll probably need some direction on doing that. But just to be able to start to type, and it auto populates.
Yeah, so Marlene, if I remember correctly, you can type for, I think it's every field except the special cares, which is the one that you need, right? Yeah, so, okay. Yeah, we'll put in a request for that. Actually, I think there
Problem
already is one on
child.
file. Yeah.
I can't believe I'm the only one that,
Oh, you're not at all.
yeah.
You're not at
But
all.
I am a problem child.
We have plenty of clients who rely heavily on the special cares, and I which I appreciate. They're really useful as flags for all kinds of different purposes.
Yep.
As far as reordering them, they're determined. There's a display order in the settings for each one, and in the special cares database. And the display order determines the order that they're listed in the folders, and then I think sort of the average of the display order determines the order of the folders themselves. So basically, I could take all your special cares and put them in a spreadsheet, and if you tell me, I could even give it to you, and you just like drag the rows around into the order you want, and
Okay.
then I can set up the folders and the numbering so that it'll match that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Do I have to write you an email?
Yeah, just put in a ticket, send me an email, whichever works for you,
Okay.
and we can get that going. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to check with my team. I'll get the order. Okay. Thank you.
Alrighty.
All right, and I think that's a good wrap-up point right there. And we'll go ahead and post the feedback, the polls, and see everybody next week.